Hello and welcome to Sumner. And as you can see, we've instantly turned up back in the city of the Kosani. Now once you're here, you talk to the guys that run the place and they'll pretty much fill you in on what we have to do next. And that's pretty much capture the 4 demons and put them back into the 4 rings of whence they came. And just a reminder, we just come from Orania where we collected the 4 dragon rings, so yep, 4 dragon rings, 4 demon rings, and we'll have the entire set. But we'll be two rings short. I mean, we'll have 2 less rings than the Mandarin. So there you go. Now we talked to the keeper of the law here, which I would like to remind everyone that when we first visited this place, we were under the impression that we only had to collect 4 rings. And I guess the people here knew it was 8, but yeah, it's just a simple lack of communication. Anyway, she is sort of pissed at us because apparently demons are overrunning the place now, and apparently that was our fault. Oh, poor Joseph. He's been really screwed. But like I said before, this story does sort of follow a hero's journey type path, where at first he's called to destiny. You know, he reached his lowest point in Orania, and now this is sort of like the ascension. This is him finally saving the day. Well, granted, this game is still pretty grim in tone. And again, she fills us in on the prophecy, and apparently when Joseph put his arm into the furnace, that's what he was supposed to do, except he had to do it with all 4 rings. And as you know, there's like this myth of the god Uraf, and yep, apparently that's what Joseph is supposed to be. You know, he's the summoner. There are 4 demons, 4 dragons. Put them all together, and you get, you know, the god Uraf reborn. Now at this point there are some side quests in the city of the Kosani, but no one will speak to you until we've completed this first quest. And if you're wondering exactly what that is, it's well, for a start we have to find some ancient scrolls of the Kosani. And I'm just looking for the items here, and I've decided it's best to give him the Debasa. Now if you remember, the Debasa, it's not as powerful as the Warhammer, but it has the ability to maybe trip people, which does make it the better weapon. Now there is a quite difficult section coming up. Not right away, but put it this way, you need to put a focus on Rosalind and Jakar. So we're on our way to the monastery to find some sacred scrolls of the Kosani. Because if you remember, this monastery is holy to the Kosani people, but it's inhabited by someone else, so yeah, again, some kind of religious war or what have you. And something I noticed here is that the random encounters seem a lot more frequent than the first half of the game, and of course, yes, they are a lot more difficult as well. Oh, and just a reminder, you can never go back to Orania. I've said it before, but yeah, once you're here, you're stuck here, essentially. And now we see what happened to the Monastary of Iona, and yep, you can see it's gone to ruin. The demons have ruined the place, and now all the bone spirits that lived in the pit underneath have now emerged from it. Now when it comes to the summons, I wasn't really bothered, so I chose the blue imp, because it has healing abilities at least. Although at this point, you've leveled up quite a large amount, and the enemies here are still at the same level when you first fought them in the catacombs. So, yeah, really, they're really not that important. And you just saw the Debasa in action there, because he knocked over the enemy and they were tripped over. So again, ridiculously useful. And if you have two of these debasses, give one to Joseph and give one to Jakar. And I'm not sure what happened there, but yeah, the blue imp died. I didn't even see it. Did it get attacked? Was it just too far away? Now, something I find strange is that whenever the enemies are hit, the numbers of their health you take away are now in red. And they weren't that colour before. And I'm not sure why. I mean, is there just something inconsistent about this area? Something different in the programming? Or is it a case of we're so powerful that attacks are now in red because they do so much damage? And here now is the Summoner's Gauntlets. So I guess they're meant for Joseph. And speaking of armour, at this point we'll be able to find the full sets. Like there's Summoner Gauntlets, there's also Summoner Boots and Summoner Chainmail. And you know, you put them all together and you get a lovely matching suit. And there's also different types of like suits, like there's the Horseman's Chainmail or the Hero's Chainmail. But yeah, if you remember when we first visited this place, there were actually children working here. So it's pretty great. It does either imply they must have ran out of the place or suffered the consequences. And again, this is what I mean by the sort of darker tone of the game, because with the exception of the Kosani city, every place is pretty much ransacked or ruined. Now, in terms of difficulty, this section is actually really quite easy. I'm actually barely thinking about it, really. I'm just running in and attacking these guys. But, you know, it is a good contrast, because it does show how powerful your characters have become since their first visit. And speaking of multiple visits, yeah, the rest of the game is pretty much revisiting areas we've already been to. And in fact, even after this little section here, this won't be the last time we come to this monastery. Which, oh, I guess I want to say it's a bad thing, although on the plus side, it does look very different. For a start, it's in winter and it's ruined, so yeah, it's not exactly recycling the same environments. I do like how these skeleton warriors have giant swords. I mean, I don't think it really makes a difference, but there you go. But apart from that, there is quite a few cool items lying around here, so you want to keep your eyes open. And again, when you visit this area and then revisit it, there are different items. For example, this one here is the burnt robe, and according to anime logic, the less clothes a woman wears, the more protected she is. And apparently, if a robe is burnt more, it's again more protective. Oh, you know, it's the typical gaming thing where, oh, and here's a bow of Liane. It's an okay bow, I suppose. Not really big on bows. I mean, again, I just gave one to Rosalind because it means she keeps her distance from enemies. Yeah, archery.
Success.
Yeah, investing your time in archery in this game, you will not be rewarded. You know, if your character's melee, stick with blunt weapons. But anyway, I was gonna say, see, Rosalind is meant to be a holy woman, but even she falls to the tropes of video games and fiction in general, where attractive women get scantily clad outfits. A haste ring. I mean, no haste to get that. Again, you can see at this point I'm controlling Jakar just because he's the heavy hitter. And honestly, Joseph, we don't really need you, if I'm honest. And again, I said before, Jakar really comes into his own near the later half of the game. And he really does. I keep watching this footage and I notice whenever he does an attack, there's a good chance he could do like hundreds of points worth of damage. Now, after this, there is one more visit. Well, I think we have to visit one more time after that, just for one quest item. Because, yeah, again, now that we're back in Medeva, the side quests do make a reappearance. Well, on the plus side is, we were given some side quests at the beginning of the game, and we can finally wrap them up, finally complete them.
Success.
Well, when recording this game, I was kind of guessing we could get it. Well, I could get it done in under 60 parts.
It won't open.
Maybe that's not the case exactly, but
Success.
if it is over 60 parts, it will only be like 1 or 2 parts over. This is very quick. Like, when I was recording this, I sort of divided it in my own head between 3 acts. Now, the first act in Medeva, the second act in Aurenia, and the third act back in Medeva. But this one is really short. And the good thing about revisiting these dungeons is that the developers shown a bit of mercy on the player, and essentially you don't have to revisit all the environments. Well, what I mean is the dungeons you revisit will be streamlined. Like, for example, we will go back to the swamp, but it'll be sort of streamlined and easier to get through. For example, this place, we don't have to go into the catacombs ever again. I mean, granted, we can't anyway, but, oh well. Ooh, a few more tracks in the bookshelves here. Of course, this must be a really sad time for Rosalind, because this is her order. She's come back to her home, essentially, and saw it in ruins. And I guess this does provide some motivation for the character near the end. Because, essentially, what she does is try and rebuild this place. And since it's her place, I thought I'll take the lead with her. And here we find Yargo again. Now free from the demons, he's sort of trying to redeem himself. Machival, the ultimate demon of this game. Oh, and they also bring up the Neveseum. Now, of course, he does spell out what we have to do next. The sacred Kasani scrolls, which lay in the library, were taken by the evil usurper prince and Queen Gallienne. Saunion, that's his name. So, yeah, our next mission is to get back into Medeva. Hang on, we are in Medeva. No, it's to get back in the castle and put Saunion and Gallien's head on a pike. But first we need a bit of pathos here. I don't want to sound insensitive, but I have an overdue library book from this library, so at least now I don't have to worry about returning it. But actually, this is a scene really important to Rosalind's character. And it's good to see her finally get emotional and sad. See, honestly, more cutscenes like this were needed.
I trained to read the language of the gods, dreaming of the day I'd pass.
And it's a
through
small
these
detail, but I like
doors.
how Fleece's cape is
Now I
blowing
visit
in the wind.
grave of a mother or father I never knew. A grave desecrated by evil men.